All right. I have to rewind a bit now because in June 2021, a couple of weeks prior to finalizing the plans and shooting the music video for NFT Swagging, I watched the Fresh and Fair podcast episode where they introduced Charlie, aka Cultivate Crypto, and Miguel, aka Dollar Cost Crypto, and the Crypto Mindset Q3 2021 course they were promoting at the time. During this podcast, they talked about the different insights that they had regarding the crypto space and the precautions needed if one were to enter it. Since most of the research at this moment in time I've done regarding crypto was through understanding NFTs because I was putting out my own, I thought to myself, if I'm going to put out NFTs and make a song about NFTs and crypto, I should probably know as much about crypto as possible. I found these gentlemen to be extremely knowledgeable when it came to the understanding of crypto, so I looked into getting their course. But when I saw the cost, the course cost $7.99, I was a bit reluctant to purchase it because I was in the motions of investing a considerable amount of capital to put my NFT swagging music video together. But the course was closing in less than 24 hours, so if I were to purchase it, I had to decide then and there. I understood that crypto and blockchain technology was the future, therefore comprehending as much of the space as possible would be paramount. So I went ahead and purchased the course, and little did I know that would be one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. The webinars for the Crypto Mindset Q3 2021 course started a bit after the middle of June, and I couldn't really focus on watching the webinars because it started during the time I was mentally preparing myself to finalize the plans and shoot my first music video. But when I shot the footage for my NFT swagging music video towards the end of June, I was eager to go back and catch up on all the webinars I had missed. As I started to focus on watching the webinars and taking in the information, I started to realize that the world of crypto is indeed greater than just NFTs. The Crypto Mindset course gave me a better understanding of this new era of DeFi, decentralized finance, and how to navigate investing in crypto in the safest way. But oh, lo and behold, unbeknownst to me, the Crypto Mindset course would introduce me to the light at the end of the tunnel I've been searching for, which is Hex. None of this is financial advice, so you must do your own research. But one of the tokens that Charlie and Miguel in the Crypto Mindset Q3 2021 course suggested to invest in was Hex, the first blockchain certificate of deposit. Hex was the cheapest token they suggested. I believe it was hovering around 9 cents at the time. I scrubbed the hex.com site to find out more about this token, and in the beginning of July, I made my first investment in Hex and thus became a Hexican. Then everything from this point seemed to happen pretty fast because my original plan after dropping my NFT swagging music video on YouTube was to go into high gear and invest in marketing my NFTs, my merch, and just promoting myself as a brand. But all that quickly changed when nearly a week later in July 2021, after dropping my NFT swagging music video on YouTube, the Pulse Chain sacrifice would begin. I remember seeing rumbles online the night prior to the Pulse Chain sacrifice launch. I recall Charlie and Miguel talking about this during a webinar in the Crypto Mindset course, but I didn't completely understand what it was at the time. But from them discussing it during the course and from the rumbles I was seeing online, I knew this was a huge event occurring. So the night before the Pulse Chain sacrifice phase began, I was online going through YouTube, different Reddit threads, and I was discovering that Pulse Chain is an energy efficient, cheaper, faster, fee burning Ethereum fork, and every single token on the Ethereum network would be copied over to Pulse Chain, causing this to be the biggest crypto airdrop in history. I eventually was led into the Pulse Chain Telegram chat, where, along with many other enthusiastic individuals, went to seek information to comprehend everything that was going on. Luckily, I did a ton of research before entering the chat, so I had a firm grasp on what the Pulse Chain sacrifice phase entailed. But it was still reassuring that there were many people in the Pulse Chain Telegram chat willing to answer a couple of questions and clarifications I had regarding the sacrifice phase. And not too long being immersed in the Telegram chat, Richard Hart himself went live on YouTube to explain why Pulse Chain was being made, how the Pulse Chain sacrifice phase worked, and also touched on other concepts related to the general DeFi crypto space. And by the end of the stream, I was left astonished of how much knowledge Richard Hart was spitting. And it was just so refreshing to find out that this sacrifice phase for Pulse Chain was a political statement to prove how strong we believe that blockchains are speech, and speech is a protected human right, especially being extremely alarmed with all the censorship that was going on at this time. And thus the next day, the Pulse Chain sacrifice phase went live, and a few days after that, without expectation of profit from the work of others, of course, I made my sacrifice. And I made sure that my sister, my brother, my mom, and my dad all made sacrifices from their own individual wallets, and we may all receive free Palkins for doing so. I even got a few friends that didn't ignore me involved with the sacrifice phase. But up until this point, it was extremely difficult to not constantly believe I was self-sabotaging myself by forgoing my electrical engineering degree to be an Uber driver and essentially play video games. But in actuality, my goals were to set up my creative infrastructure, gain a greater business acumen, stay up to date with all the emerging technologies, and continue to deprogram myself from all the lies being purported to me for far too long, all to make sure my family is protected in the future. Again, my mission has been simple. I cannot truly be creatively free until I'm financially free, but with all the censorship going on, I could no longer trust all these centralized platforms I would be using to build my brand in the long term. But what a better way to be financially free than to be your own bank in the most decentralized way with the fastest performing asset class. Every step I took leading up to discovering Hex and then the Pulse Chain sacrifice phase suddenly felt like it wasn't in vain. After making my sacrifice for Pulse Chain, and as the sacrifice phase for Pulse Chain ended, I continued to watch the Richard Hart live streams as well as consume content from many other Hex Pulse Chain content creators on YouTube. And through doing so, I began to greater understand the importance of the Pulse Chain network, the complexities of Hex, and the broader centralized and decentralized finance world. And then in September 2021, along being deep within absorbing so much knowledge from the Hex Pulse Chain community, I was able to be a part of witnessing the phenomenon of Hex doing its 10,000x in under 2.5 years, as it was designed to do so. And after really taking some time to understand the inner workings of Hex and its staking mechanism regarding its T-shares, in September 2021, I finally made my first stakes with Hex. I remember when I was in college studying electrical engineering and I was learning to code for the first time, I wondered if coding was an art form in itself. And then funny enough, I thought to myself, of course it is, because video games are an art form that are made with code. So upon understanding that Hex is a smart contract that has been designed to be incredibly intricate, I couldn't help but consider Hex to be an innovational masterpiece, considering the checks and balances that was built into the staking mechanism and the overall game theory of the token. Then, at the end of December 2021, Richard Hart announced the Pulse X sacrifice. Pulse X being a Uniswap fork and the premier decentralized exchange for Pulse Chain. And again, it was refreshing to note that this sacrifice phase was a political statement to prove how strong we believe in the right of human assembly, especially given all the unconstitutional lockdowns we endured in the US. And thus, in the beginning of January 2022, again, without expectation of profit from the work of others, I made my sacrifice. And I again made sure that my sister, my brother, my mom, and my dad all made sacrifices from their own individual wallets. And we all may receive free PulseX tokens for doing so. And for the PulseX sacrifice, I tried to reach out to some friends that I wasn't able to convince to participate in the Pulse sacrifice, but alas, I was ignored and left unread once again. January to May of 2022 basically consisted of me continuing to grind out Uber driving while I stayed up to date with all the happenings related to the launch of Pulse Chain and further my knowledge base related to the general crypto DeFi space. I also participated in peripheral projects related to the Pulse Chain ecosystem. And then in May of 2022, on Mother's Day, I gave birth. I got up early that day to do a bit of grocery shopping. The plan for this Mother's Day was to take my mom out to eat early in the afternoon after she was done getting a massage. So from Chicago, I planned on driving out to the suburbs after I was done shopping. But apparently my brother happened to schedule a massage for my mom at a massage parlor of the same name from the one my mom intended to go to. So her massage had to be rescheduled for later in that afternoon at the correct parlor, thus pushing back the time we were planning on going out to eat. When I got back to my apartment from grocery shopping, I now had a few hours of downtime that I didn't plan for. I was planning on working that day, and my first thought was to go Uber driving for a few hours until then, but ultimately chose to stay in and relax. I hopped on my computer and was probably going to watch some anime to pass the time, but ever since I came up with NFT swagging, I started to tease myself and got back into the habit of listening to beats every now and then. And there's been a couple of beats that I really liked I will listen to just for fun. I started listening to one of them and my creative juices started flowing because I began to craft out Pulse, the Pulse Chain anthem. When I started to craft it out, I checked the time and I saw that I had about 3 hours until I had to leave to take my mom out to eat. So I pushed myself to finish writing the song in that time, and I did, thus giving birth to a new song. Having been actively suppressing myself from creating music in any capacity until I figure out how to properly lay out the foundation for building my brand as a creative, I looked at the piece of paper I wrote Pulse, the Pulse Chain anthem on, reinvigorated, knowing that Hex, Pulse Chain, PulseX will be the pillars that will boost me towards completing my mission. And again, my mission has been clear. I cannot truly be creatively free until I'm financially free. After that Mother's Day, when I saw my roommates at the time, I kept telling them I became a mother on Mother's Day because I gave birth to a new song. Later that month, in May 2022, I went to the studio to record Pulse, the Pulse Chain anthem, and use this as another opportunity to work on becoming a better recording artist. I've been thrilled for the launch of Pulse Chain, of course, but have been even more enthralled with the work, time, and effort many individuals of the Hex Pulse Chain community has been putting into building projects for and around Pulse Chain. Upon constructing Pulse, the Pulse Chain anthem, I wanted to participate in that by doing what I do best, which is to create. And yes, I have the song, but that doesn't solely do it justice because I plan on making an animation video that actually introduces something I've been wanting to for my brand, as well as potentially gain massive awareness for Pulse Chain. And I definitely intend to reaching out to prominent Hex Pulse Chain content creators to leak my song before its release. At this current moment in time, the Pulse Chain Testnet v3 is on the verge of launching and thus bringing us a step closer to the official launch. And I just want to thank Richard Hart along with the entire Hex Pulse Chain community for firstly, just a sheer massive amount of education I've gotten being engaged with a lot of the content distributed by this community, and also helping me crack the code to the matrix, which is true decentralization. Not just decentralization of finance, but of education, news, entertainment, governance, communication, all leading towards self-sovereignty, self-custody, self-responsibility, self-reliability, self-sufficiency, self-awareness, self-control, self-confidence, self-care, self-respect, and higher self-esteem. Again, you all have my gratitude, and I'm now one huge leap towards becoming unleashed. Gah!